The Groseal Downtown Development Authority meeting to order. Our first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Anderson, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next item is roll call. Mr. Moran is here. Supervisor Porcarelli. Here. Mr. Anderson.
Here.
Ms. Stanko.
Here.
Ms. Pucak is excused. Mr. Ranley.
Here.
Ms. Armiak.
Here.
Ms. Karn.
Here.
Mr. Jacobson.
Here.
The next item is the approval of the agenda, and we have two additions under action items. We have the purchase and some planting of some trees, and we have the removal of 2 trees. So that would be action item 2 and 3. Is there any other additions or deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make a movement.
Motion by Ms. Armiak. Second. Supported by Mr. Ranley to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is two presentations tonight, and our first one is from Leigh Young, the Senior Main Street Specialist from Michigan Main Street. Welcome, Leigh.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending.
You are most welcome. I'm super excited to talk to you tonight about the Michigan Main Street program, but also the network level of that program. So I'm specifically here to talk about the network level because it's brand new to our program, and it's something that we created to work with communities like Groseal that have a commercial corridor, but that doesn't meet our definition of a traditional historic downtown, that definition being 20 or more lot line commercial buildings that are primarily zoned or used for commercial purposes that are 50 years or older. Recognizing you don't have that development typology, but maybe want to get there in your master planning and still have a commercial corridor that you're stewards of, we created the network level to be able to interact and provide best practices and a framework for you to help realize your vision and implement the projects that you want to. Using the Main Street framework, which is a time-tested program. So I will just dive in, and you can honestly ask questions throughout the presentation, or I can hold them to the end. It really is meant to be pretty informal. So Michigan Main Street is part of the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I like to show the MEDC's strategic plan because Main Street fits into several of the key tenets of MEDC's strategic plan, specifically the developing attractive places core principle, marketing the state, and supporting small businesses. So we really fit into several of the core principles. So I just really like to highlight the fact that MEDC is much more than what you might think of it. We really have all 6 of these areas that we focus on. Michigan Main Street is also part of the National Main Street Center, which was established in the 1980s. We are part of a network of 45 state, city, or county coordinating programs that provide technical assistance to over 2,000 communities nationwide. The movement really grew out of the decline of vibrant downtowns because of things like suburbanization, shopping malls, big box retailers that took customers away from where they used to shop, the traditional downtown. And really the National Main Street Center, through refocusing that energy back into downtowns, has paved the way for healthy downtowns nationwide. And you can see that through the reinvestment that's been seen in these over 2,000 communities. $7.65 billion have been reinvested locally since the 1980s. That's through 6,300 net new businesses, a net gain of jobs of over 33,000. 10,000 buildings have been rehabilitated, and 1.9 volunteer hours have been invested into downtown and commercial district revitalization throughout the nation. Those are just really important collective impact statistics to showcase. And I really just like showing the impact because even in a community that doesn't necessarily have a traditional downtown, all of these still apply to the commercial corridor and the work that you're doing along your commercial corridor. So Michigan Main Street exists in Michigan to help communities develop Main Street districts that attract residents and businesses, encourage that local investment through facade and building rehabilitations and new development, and then also building community ownership and stewardship over your commercial corridor. We became a coordinating program in 2003, so we celebrated our 20-year anniversary in 2023, and as part of that, the network level was born. Our Solution Center, which I'll talk about, was born, really just continuing to provide resources and technical assistance to communities throughout the state. We do provide tailored technical assistance to communities at all different levels. For the network level, that technical assistance includes our downtown scorecard, which I'll talk about, access to tailor-made resources related to that scorecard, and our Michigan Main Street staff. You'll learn that we're a small but mighty team of 3. And then we also do downtown forums twice a year, and that's to bring all network level and engaged level communities together to talk about challenges, successes, and to learn from one another. You also will be part of the network of our higher tiered programs, the select and master level, and you can learn about what they're doing in their downtowns that's relevant to you. So it's really amazing to have this new level so that you can be part of the Michigan Main Street Network. Over the past 21 years, Michigan Main Street has seen real results. We get reinvestment statistics from our higher tier programs, the select and master level, similar to what National Main Street has. So I just like to highlight the private investment, the public investment that's been poured into Michigan's downtown and commercial corridors, the new businesses, the facade and building improvements, but I really like to highlight, just last year alone, the 30,000 volunteer hours throughout the state. And program to date, almost 1 million volunteer hours have gone into this program and to our state's downtowns. This is a map of our communities. We actually have 2 more to add. Grandmont, Rosedale, and Detroit joined the engage level, and then Romulus has joined the network level. So lots of communities within and close to this area, but we have 23 at the higher tiers, the select and master, 11 at the engaged level, and 5 at the network level. We're really trying to build out that network level because it was brand new just last year. So Main Street, what is Main Street? It's a framework and a community-driven economic development strategy that encourages revitalization through historic preservation and understanding your assets and what built your commercial corridor, and stakeholder engagement, really bringing community ownership back into being stewards of that commercial corridor. We have many guiding principles, but first and foremost, the approach is comprehensive. We really make sure that as you're managing and being stewards of your commercial corridor, you're not just focusing on things like design or flowers, but you're really thinking about an overarching approach that touches all facets of revitalization. We work with you to leverage existing assets and current partnerships so that you can make sure that it's not just the DDA that's working on commercial corridor revitalization, that you're leveraging all of the partners and residents and community stakeholders. It's also a self-empowerment program, so we provide lots of training, resources, technical assistance, but it's all to help you realize your local vision and your local goals. It's an incremental approach. As you know and have been engaged in community development, you know it's not one big thing that's going to make that change. It's really incremental, small steps over time that will allow you to realize that change. When it comes to change, we want to make sure that everything is quality change, that we're making changes that are based on our community's vision, that allow us to have new development that meets what the community wants to see, new businesses that meet what the community wants to see. And then lastly, and I think most importantly, the approach is implementation-based. It's not enough to have really great plans. Main Street allows you to have a framework that's working on implementing those plans and allowing stakeholders to be involved and engaged in implementing those plans. So the Main Street approach has 4 key points that we work with you on. So the first one is economic vitality. So that's about strengthening your existing economic assets. Business retention, business recruitment, all fall into that, but also identifying opportunities for new development and growth. Design is the next one. So again, leveraging your unique historic character or your unique assets that make the place something special. It's also about creating inviting districts that attract those visitors, residents, and new businesses. Organization is about cultivating partnerships and coordinating resources around that shared community vision for your corridor. And then promotion is about communicating the value and vitality of what that corridor offers to community members, potential investors, and key stakeholders. So it's through this approach that we help you ensure that you're being comprehensive in your management of your Main Street area, and instead of just focusing on one or more of the points. So we do have goals of participating in Main Street. The first one is really just familiarizing yourself and key stakeholders with what the Main Street approach is. Once you familiarize yourself with what the Main Street approach is, you can start to integrate some of the foundational aspects into the way that your board runs. We give you access to tools designed to help you build awareness and resources for what you do using the Main Street framework. We help you identify local stakeholders and strategies to engage them in the work that you're doing here at the DDA. And then you also join that statewide network and national network of communities that are leveraging this approach to bolster their economic development efforts in their commercial corridor. I wanted to show you just really quickly all of the 4 levels that we do have. So the network level is our no commitment level, but again, it's that level that's available for the communities that are looking for additional resources, but not full Main Street designation. To participate in the network level, it's very simple. You complete a community interest form. On the community interest form, we just ask for who's going to be a main point of contact, what relevant resources have you used from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Those include talking to Dominic Romano, the community development manager for this region, and participation in the Redevelopment Ready Communities program. We just want to know what work has been done. And then also submitting progress reports due in the summer and winter annually. We also have you complete our downtown scorecard, which I'll talk about next. The downtown scorecard has 8 different key areas, 2 for each one of the Main Street 4 points. And this is just an example of the business category. All of the 8 categories have a very similar layout in that it's a self-assessment. It allows you to go through, for each one of the categories, different performance measures or indicators of if we're doing everything we possibly could for business or for real estate or for corridor management, these are the things we would be doing. For our case, we get to score, are we starting? This doesn't exist here for Grosse Ile or for our DDA organization. Are we evolving? We've gotten something ready to launch, but it hasn't fully launched yet. Or are we excelling? This could be used as a best practice and model for other communities. So the 8 categories are business, real estate, those fall under the economic vitality category. Events and marketing, those fall under promotion. Preservation and place fall under design, and then capacity and people fall under organization. So this last page of the scorecard lets you see kind of the matrix of the 8 different components and where you land based on each one. So you can really see quickly what are your greatest successes, what are your greatest needs or challenges. And then we also have you briefly describe 5 specific actions you want to make within the next 1 to 2 years. Those 5 specific actions are where our team comes into play because we have resources that can help you move forward on those actions. Those resources live on our Main Street Solution Center. So you'll see if you go to our online resource library that we have the 8 categories. They're all drop downs, and all of the drop downs correlate to the performance measures within the scorecard. There's a lot of different ways to navigate through the Solution Center. It's really not that complicated, but we did want to put something together so that communities could easily navigate to find the right solution. So the first one is that you would complete the scorecard in its entirety, evaluate your organization, determine the category where you need the most resources for. Then you would navigate to the Solution Center, find the resources that you're looking for based on your area of highest need. There's another solution pathway, which is you have a pre-identified area of need. Say business is your pre-identified area of need. You would complete this scorecard for that business category and then figure out what performance measures you're needing the most help with. Then you could go to the Solution Center, find those resources. The last one is if you're hunting for a specific resource, say quick ways to activate the corridor through placemaking. You would go to the place category and find all of the resources we have on placemaking. So it's pretty simple, easy to navigate, but also when you complete your scorecard, I and my team can help you find the resources that you need. So the last part of the presentation is really what the value of participation with Main Street is. It helps provide that framework and methodology for sustainable revitalization. It helps you not recreate the wheel. There's lots of best practices and lots of things that have been tried and done before with success that you can learn from through other communities. It provides a framework for engaging the community in the future of your corridor management in your downtown, cultivating belonging and pride. A lot of times, community members might not know how to get involved with a board like this. Main Street allows you to set up different committees and have volunteers for those committees to help you implement projects. It allows you to proactively manage the market. You can ask stakeholders, what exactly do you want to see downtown? What do you want to see on our Main Street? You can then say no to certain developments that don't align with that vision. But you can also be proactive and find developments that align with that vision. It provides you access to technical assistance and plus the national network of communities. And then it helps drive economic growth by revitalizing businesses, attracting new investments, increasing foot traffic and local spending, and really making the district that hub for social and economic activity. So I said there's 3 of us. There's myself, Laura is the manager of our program, and then Jill Tremonti is our promotion specialist. So all 3 of us will be ready at your access at the network level to provide that technical assistance to you based on your scorecard results. And then this is a link directly to our webpage. So I'll just leave that up and take any questions that you may have.
Does anybody have any questions for Leigh? I've got one. Can you go back to the list of the communities that are in the program right now? So Southgate is the closest community to us that's in the program.
Yes, and Southgate joined the network level for a very similar reason as when I was talking to Ross, because they don't have the built environment that says they're a traditional downtown, but they very much have a Main Street and commercial corridor that they're trying to revitalize and be the hub of their community. And so they're using the Main Street framework just like you potentially would be to learn those best practices. They're also using it to get more engagement with their DDA board.
Yeah, if I may, one reason why I really reached out to Leigh in Michigan Main Street, and I've been wanting to for a couple years now, and I just didn't know if we qualified, which we don't because we don't have that traditional downtown. But we've discussed this several times where we want to find ways to leverage volunteers and get more people participated. With our downtown, whether it's events, just getting more organized, whether that's design, economic vitality, figuring out ways. Remember, we tried to set up a business retention and attraction committee that didn't quite work out. But what this really does is it helps provide us with the tools to be structured and find ways to, first of all, doing the scorecard, really evaluate, being realistic with ourselves and saying what are our strengths right now, what are our weaknesses, and what can we do to build on both of those, to improve on our weaknesses and build on our strengths. So I think that within the next month, maybe we at the next meeting, maybe we go through the scorecard and then we start this process if that's what the board wants to do. But I think that what this does, it provides us with the ability to become more organized and really tackle some tangible objectives that we have as a board. So,
have you looked at the scorecard and started to score?
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, and I think that in some ways I'm like, oh, I think we do this pretty good, but then I'm like, oh wait, no, maybe not. So I think that's why. How many questions are on there? It's probably like 100, right?
It is a lot of indicators, but it's meant to be exhaustive. It's meant to give you ideas to think about and not let you rest on your laurels. It's meant to push you along. So I think communities get embarrassed if there's a lot in just starting. There's no reason to. It's not a judgment on our end. It's really just to allow you to say, oh, we've never thought about that, but maybe this could be a way that we can engage more people or see the change that we want because these indicators really can help.
Right. Would you recommend maybe going through the training the online training and then going through the scorecard,
Yeah.
and then kind of going the next steps that way, or vice
Yeah.
versa? Or?
Yeah, so part of the Engage level, we have an online training series that we've built out that is about establishing the Main Street framework in your community, and it's required for the Engage level tier. It's optional for network level, but I would fully recommend going through it because it talks about things like establishing, well, when you think about your Main Street area, what would be that district? It talks about best practices of doing a building and business inventory, mapping the area. It talks about how to integrate the Main Street framework within the board itself. The district scorecard is one of the modules. So you absolutely could just do the training and complete the district scorecard all in one. But yes, I think the training offers a very good foundation for starting a Main Street framework, even at network level. A couple of ways to complete the training. It's free to do also. You could do it all together at like a board workshop. It takes probably about 2 hours. We integrated some videos from Main Street America, so that made it a little bit longer. But it's 7 different modules, so you could even break it up into 2 board meetings or workshops. And like I said, that downtown scorecard is one of them. So once you're going through it, you can just document on a paper copy or the fillable PDF and then submit that directly to me, and you'll kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Or you could do the downtown scorecard at a board meeting and not do the training yet. You could just do that individually if you wanted.
But either way, I think that because when I first started here, because the township participates with Michigan Economic Development Corporation's Redevelopment Ready program, and we're like 78% almost certified, so we're getting close. But when we talk about these programs and when we talk about the initiatives that the DDA wants to take on, it takes a lot of education to learn about development. Like, what is economic development? What is community development? What's community engagement? What are, how do we instill these programs? And I think that this training opportunity, or this opportunity through Michigan Main Street, will help us all kind of really learn about best practices on, downtown development. And so I think that just kind of getting us educated, and then also, doing the scorecard, evaluating ourselves, and then moving forward and talk about how can we progress to help, build on what we've accomplished over the past couple of years.
I like the structure of it and the peer group, portion of it. But just so I think collectively we're clear, like the commitment from either the board or yourself, like what is it, or what does it look like, and that way we're make sure that we're committed to doing something, rather than Ross bearing the brunt of or maybe you do bear the brunt of most of this. I'm not real clear on what's like being asked, I guess.
The network level, like I said, is our lowest level of commitment. So it's really what you want to make of it. So when you complete your scorecard, we will ask you to determine what are your 5 key areas you want to work on. And then your biannual reports, the ones that you submit in summer and December, will really check in on those priorities of, have you made progress? What progress have you seen? Have your priorities shifted? What challenges are you seeing now? Because within 6 months, priorities shift because things change. And so it's submitting those 2 reports annually, attending the downtown forums, and then really just making that commitment to make some progress on your scorecard. But there's never going to be a place where we say you're not making enough progress or whatnot. You can stay in the network level for as long as you'd like, for as long as you see benefit. But yeah, participating is how you're going to get the benefit.
And then could you go to the checklist that shows what's required at each level?
Yes.
That was helpful. So, okay. And then
I've done number 1, so that's why Leigh's here.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah, I think it's great.
Is there a financial obligation to the DDA for this?
No, there is no financial obligation for any of our levels or for any of the training or technical assistance we'll provide to you. If one of your priorities is how do we even think about marketing and promoting or using social media to talk about what we're doing, our promotion specialist is fantastic. We can set up a virtual call with her and she can immediately give you several strategies. There will be no cost to interacting with our staff whatsoever.
Better sign up for that right away.
Hey, we got some branding going, all right?
Yeah, awesome. Very cool.
And then as far as the 4 subcommittees, it's economic vitality
Yep.
and design, the 2 other ones.
Promotion.
Promotion.
Which so what I would recommend is economic vitality. You can either call it economic vitality or you can call it something like business development. Sometimes business development resonates more with community members because it's a lot more like organic of what you're trying to do. And it doesn't require like education to understand, like sometimes I'm like, what do we mean by economic vitality?
Right.
Design, beautification, sometimes people call it, or placemaking. Those are the things that resonate with community members now because those are buzzwords that people have heard.
Right.
But you could easily call it design too. Promotion, I would split out if you have events that you do. Sometimes promotion committees get too bogged down in just the events and forget about the marketing of the corridor. So a lot of times we recommend if you have events, just have a separate events committee and then let promotion be marketing and promotion. And then organization is volunteer development, is fund development. What do you want to do? Do you need sponsors? Do you need fundraising? How do we set a good foundation at the board level so that we have board policies and best practices, things like that? So that's at the organization committee.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So it would really be maybe like 5 committees. Or
Gotcha.
sometimes design and economic vitality can work hand in hand too. So
Gotcha.
you could always combine them however best fit.
What does that typically look like? Is that just a member of the board kind of with a bunch of volunteers talking about things, meeting up, sharing out with the DDA?
Great question. Yeah. So when you're first getting started with committees, it's always recommended to have a board member that serves as that committee chair. So each one of you would decide, okay, I really want to be the chair of whatever is your passion or skill set or interest. So that way, that board member is the chair of the committee, has the volunteers with your help coordinating, and then is being able to report back what that committee is working on at the board meeting. Once you get down the line and have trusted volunteers, you're also building a pipeline for future board members, but also people that can help be capacity builders for your organization. So eventually you'll have trusted partners that could be committee chairs that attend the meeting and give the committee report for you. So you don't have to wear 2 hats. But that would be further down the line.
Right, yeah, and that's not required to be.
That's
a
not
network,
required
right.
at all. Nope.
It's just a tool for us to help, if we do get to that point, we can have that structure set
Yeah.
up where a board member volunteers to spearhead the events and promotion committee.
For sure.
And then they, recruit folks, meet with them on a monthly basis, share out to DDA.
Absolutely.
Yep, okay.
And on the Solution Center, we have a committee guide that really clearly lays out, here's the roles and responsibilities of a community member, here's the roles and responsibilities of a committee chair, and here's what the committees actually work on, annual and monthly roles.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Leigh? Hearing none, thank you. Great
Absolutely.
information, and
Yeah.
I think we know what our next steps are going to have to be,
Okay.
so.
Perfect. Yeah. I look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, just I think I sent you the fillable downtown scorecard.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well,
Thanks, Leigh.
Have a
Thank
great
you so
day.
much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Our next item is another presentation from our public art consultant, Allie, so. Good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, missed you guys. Good to see you guys. So we have 5 sculptures that are up. The lease 2-year leasing is up. So we have some options with those. There are a couple that I am proposing to consider purchasing because we've already invested either $3,000 or more into these pieces. So starting out with Kelly, her piece Windows is currently on it's Slat's property between Island Coney and the Literary Hideaway. Ends September 21st. And the total value was $5,000, so it'd be $2,000 to purchase this piece. And then my second point with her piece is, despite me confirming with her the measurements of the base, it is, as you can see in this photo, hanging off of the base. So if you do decide to purchase it, I would like to recommend pouring a new base that fits the piece. And I mocked this image up on its DDA property that is right across from the hardware store, bakery. One of the Nordines brothers pieces was on this lot. I think it'd be a nice space for it. It's open, there's no trees this is a very tall piece. And then we can have the proper base for it. So, and then this piece, our studio made as a prototype for our glass wall. So it's just sitting in my shop. And if you're wanting to replace, because the base is not movable, so we're gonna have an empty base there. Either we can replace it with another purchased piece, or if you all enjoy this piece, I could just sell it at cost of what the materials cost me. I'm just gonna go through this quickly and then kind of like break it down further, just so you have an overview. So I would say none of this has to be done up front. The only decision that would need to be made before September 21st would be if you wanted to purchase Kelly's piece, the windows piece. A new base, it can stay on that base until you are wanting to pour a new base, so it can be broken down over time. It doesn't have to happen, all by September 21st, but just so you guys know, like, the steps to move these pieces around and what the cost would be. So $6,500 to move hers, replace that base with a new piece. And then I also spoke with Simon. His piece is currently at, I believe is it PNC? What bank is that?
Public service?
Yes. Yep. So his is the stacked glass piece. I believe his value was $11,000. So I beat him up on his pricing because I work for you guys. And I said, well, what about $4,000? So, and he lives in Texas, so he's not in a hurry to get this piece. So that could also be something that could be done, he said, every 6 months, split it up into 2 payments. And then we have the large piece that is at the post office. I would suggest not purchasing that piece. It's, I believe, $20,000. Is that what I told you earlier?
Yep.
Around that, which is a long way of what we've already invested into it. And then there is Henry's piece, which is also quite expensive. I believe he had it at $15,000 or $16,000. And neither one of those have bases poured for them. They are the artist either installed it into the ground, or the piece at the post office is just on the lawn. So that's where we're at with all of our pieces that are currently up
And
their leasing period.
Allie and I had a conversation earlier today, and we don't have to the intent wasn't to make a decision tonight. We just need to do it
Yes.
before September. So we really need to put it on our agenda for our next meeting. So if everybody can kind of review these, look at the pricing of the different pieces, and, kind of give it some thought, which ones you think are the ones that maybe we should purchase. We don't have to purchase these. They can go back to, the owners. The intent was that we would lease these for a 3-year period of time, and at the end of it, we either decide to, I'll call it, give it back to the artist, and they take it back and display it somewhere else, or we can purchase it if it's a piece that we liked. So, and I think Allie's done a good job of negotiating good prices to purchase
Trying,
these
guys.
if that's what we choose to do. So,
Do we have the option to extend the lease? I mean, I get some of these are close to the purchase value, but yeah.
So Ron and I kind of also talked about that. I would suggest either the pieces that, Kelly's piece, for this piece, it's a very tall piece. I think it's like 16 feet, but it's only $2,000 more to purchase this piece. That is not a lot for a sculpture of this size. I would just, I guess, propose focusing more of your attention on purchasing pieces rather than investing more money into pieces that you don't consider purchasing outright, just so that you're not, I don't know. I wouldn't invest more money in leasing Henry's piece or Caroline's piece, because unless you have the intention of purchasing them, those two pieces are pretty costly. This piece and then the piece that's at the bank would be the only two that I think are reasonable to consider investing in purchasing. Simon's piece essentially would be another shorter leasing period. It would be $4,000 to purchase the piece, split up over a year. So it's essentially like having another leasing period with it, just broken up into
it is an
a
option.
year.
Yeah.
So
Do we need to make any considerations for insuring them? And then now, are we holding an asset, and does that have implications down the road if and when we do not want them any longer? Does, if we have $20,000 in art on the DDA's books that we no longer use?
You're essentially building a collection. You're now art collectors. So they can be, if you decide later down the line that you don't want them, you could try to resell them.
Right.
But
I guess that's my question. Isn't, financially it may or may not make sense, but like, does the DDA want to be art collectors? Is that something that?
So the goal was always to purchase pieces to accentuate the downtown area and Macomb Street, to my understanding. But I think with investing, you've already paid for more than half of some of these pieces. So it's kind of like if you do want to collect pieces and have permanent pieces along the downtown area, with some of the pieces, I would just really think about, rather than continuing to lease them, is it worth it to just pay for the piece?
Really, forgive me if this is information we already have that I don't have. Do we have a map on Macomb Street of each piece and the value and when the lease expires?
We do. So we have, I think we've made many maps at this point.
Okay.
But so we purchased Nick's piece that is in front of Perdino's already. So that leaves 5 pieces. It'd be this piece, and then, we purchased 2 pieces last year. One of Kelly's pieces that is now on DDA property across the street from Lyons Park. So we purchased that. It was, I think, $500 more than what we would be leasing it for 2 years. So we just purchased that up front, and then the 4 remaining that are not purchased would be this piece, the stacked glass piece, Simon's piece, and then the one on the old bank.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
Credit union.
Yes,
Yep.
the credit union. Well, that one's Simon's, but there's Henry's
the Fifth Third.
Oh, Fifth Third.
Oh,
Yes.
the
Yep.
office
Yes.
office
Yep.
space now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
and then the post office one.
And to comment
just
on your
4.
question, Brad, is yes, when we started the program, the intent always was that we would purchase some and we would lease some. But we were going to get into an art program that we would own
Okay.
sculptures along the street.
Yep.
But the idea is to own some and continue to lease some, and
Correct.
turn them over so that we're not having the same ones at all times.
Correct.
The program will
That there would be
continue.
a turnover of some pieces every 3 years.
Is that an additional cost to the DDA in any way, whether in insurance, or is it all covered under an umbrella?
It's covered under the townships.
Okay.
So each time when we purchase a piece, or whenever, when we build the community sculpture, that will be
that-
an asset. Yeah, that'll be included.
Part of the asset
So.
value. Okay.
Question on the base. Does it move with the base then, or do you have to?
So the base is, they were supposed to be movable. And then the contractor
Installed them.
kind of just took it
yeah.
upon himself
Made 'em
to
unmovable.
make
Yeah.
them permanent in the ground, which is okay. The base of her piece is just very large, and she mismeasured the angle. So the concrete stays at the location. We can kind of see in this photo how it's hanging off of
Right.
this base. That base, the concrete, is in the ground. All of the black is the metal that is part of the sculpture itself. So the artist would come and deinstall it from this location, and then once we pour a new base that is the proper size, reinstall it permanently at that location.
So it's kind of, we'd have to buy a new base if we wanted to purchase it and move it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would have to install a new
Right,
base.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you could leave it like it is, where it is, right?
Landscape.
Where it is.
Yes, but so if the intention has been to slowly collect pieces, I think that if we'll have 2 vacant bases, I guess I would call it that, if this piece leaves, and if Simon's piece leaves, because the other 2 don't have bases. So it's a question of if you plan to anyway keep collecting pieces, we don't have a ton of bases poured. So
I think the short term would be to leave that base there with the intent that we would put
you would
another
replace,
sculpture
Yep.
on this that fits that base.
yes.
And it's a fairly good size base to begin with for future rotating pieces.
It's 4 by 4 feet, so it's a good size base. Her piece is just massive, and I saw that from her application and tried to confirm it with her, and then once, yeah, you were there.
That was a
weren't you?
fun
And I was like,
installation.
oh no.
So, but with the piece, if we were to purchase the piece that you made that was a mock or a sample of the wall, would that fit on this?
Yeah, that
Okay,
piece
that's the
is.
intent, right?
This is pretty much to scale, so it's 2 by 3 feet. 2 feet by 3 feet, and this is obviously a mock-up. So I would elevate it so that it feels appropriate height, if that makes sense.
Allie, can you give us an update on the piece you're doing for Lyons Park?
So we are shooting to have the full 30-foot wall, the whole installation done by the end of September. When was the date that you?
September 30th
The
is the
30th?
grant requirement to get
Okay.
that. Yep.
So, and Ron and Ross and I briefly discussed doing a community unveiling gathering with that. So I would like to kind of tentatively think about a date for the unveiling of that so that we can advertise, and Ron had mentioned getting a little band together, some live music, and possibly, which Susie, I don't know if you want to help me with this or give me some of your vendors that you used last year, because you put on a great event.
Thank you.
And having like local vendors, whether they're set, if the weather's nice, like setting out, kind of lining the park with either tables or so that it is, people aren't just coming there to, see us pull the unveiling down and then like, so there's like a little community type feel.
How many Groseal residents would you say have participated in the wall already?
We have just over 500 tiles, so I think I have enough. I started laying, we have our steel cut, we have the clear bases of, so each one of these, you can see in this image, each frame is its own glass panel. So we have all of the bases cut. So I am now, in these next couple of weeks, really working the tiles together so that, I'm going to just get a good feel of how I want them to all lay. So I don't have a whole square of like blue or orange. So I'm just kind of playing with those. We may need to do one more session of tile making, but I don't want to have too many and then someone be like, oh no, my tile didn't make it in. So I want to really include all that we have made. And if we need more, then.
So other than maybe some people did a couple instead of just one, we've gotten, I'll say 450, 470 Groseal residents that have
I would say there's a
participated
good
in making this art
500
sculpture.
people.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which people have really enjoyed it. It's been fun. I think that people had a good response to it. So.
Any other questions for Allie? Thank you. Good to see you again.
Guys.
And
Okay.
we will put this on our agenda for next meeting and make some decisions as to
Okay. And then
want to move forward.
by next meeting, which we can talk about it more, but I would like to maybe also present like just the overview for the unveiling and kind of get organized and like a game plan together.
And we
that.
should pick the day for sure by our next meeting.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Our next item is public comment. Anybody in the public like to make a comment? You could give us your name and address, please?
Greg Karmazin, 21228 East River. I'm a member of the Groseal Historical Society Board, and we had a recent board meeting, and we were talking about the 250th anniversary of Groseal that will take place next year, which of course is the anniversary of when the community was essentially deeded, transferred from Indian ownership to the Macomb brothers, who we consider to be the founders of the community, the modern community that we call Groseal. And we were thinking about the possibility of celebrating the 250th anniversary, similar to how we did the bicentennial in 1976. I was here in 1976. I know Eric was here. I don't know who else was. Joe was here. But it was quite a big event, and really had a lot of community participation. All of the many of the nonprofits and community organizations are involved, and there was a concerted effort to do branding and event scheduling and that type of thing. So we were thinking about what could we do to pull together resources and ideas to plan for the 250th anniversary. next year. And of course, in 1976, one of the biggest events of all the events that took place, and they really took place over a 2-year period, was a parade on Macomb Street. I had the honor of carrying the American flag. I was a Cub Scout at the time, but it was a lot of fun, and I think it was a huge turnout. Thousands of people turned out for it, and there was a lot of interest in it. So there were kind of 3 areas that we were thinking about. How would this be relevant to the township, and thinking about where in the township could we interact with and might have an interest in this. And I was thinking about, we were looking at resources, and the state of Michigan has a grant program for the 250th celebration. And of course, our organization being a small nonprofit, it was limited in terms of resources to put together grant proposals. Now, I know we have an excellent community development coordinator here who has done some
Sounds like you're getting
some
volunteer.
great
Russ.
work
Boy.
on grants.
Just let you know my grant record is not that great. So
Well,
I think I'm 2 for 47.
Nevertheless, just floating the idea. I'm just really floating the idea tonight that there are grants available through the state of Michigan. We have put together some private grant proposals and kind of had mixed success. We've actually had really good support from the Grosse Ile Educational Foundation. I mean, they've been fantastic. They funded our timeline project, which I don't know if anybody's been over the museum.
I have. I'm on
Okay.
that board too. So.
Terrific. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. That was wonderful. And they also have funded some electronic display projects that we have in the Depot Museum. So, anyways, we've done pretty well with local private grants, but government grants and more complicated grants are something that we probably need some help with, or be interested in partnering with somebody. So I was just putting that out that there's that possibility. The other aspect of this is branding. I know that this is something that's always of interest to the downtown area, Macomb Street, and of course Macomb Brothers being the namesake. Macomb Street is named after the Macomb Brothers. I mean, there's a direct connection there. And, coming up with some kind of logo branding type signage that could be displayed on Macomb Street around the community is something that, potentially we could work with the DDA on and the township. And then, of course, the final aspect of it is if there was interest in some type of community-wide event, could Macomb Street once again become that focal point? Is there an interest in doing something on Macomb Street? And could be a parade again like we did in '76 or something else. Obviously the rec department does a wonderful Island Fest parade, and there's other parades that are on Macomb Street, and they're great community events. But this is a special opportunity. This is a once in a one-time opportunity. 250th, the next big anniversary. I probably won't be here for 300. So, it's an opportunity that I think at least I wanted to bring it here to your attention to see if there was interest in it, and if you'd be interested in working with us and others in the community too that are talking about this.
Ross, remember the group of ladies that were here at our last meeting that wanted to join committees and get involved? I think this would be something good if we could talk to them, see if they have any interest in that.
Yeah, definitely. I can reach out to them. One of them actually does really great branding. She owns a fish camp design company. Have you ever heard of them? They're always at our farmers markets, and then they sell at the hardware store, right? So great marketing there. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely give some contacts over for that. And then as far, we do have an event.
Subcommittee.
event
Right.
subcommittee that, but yeah, no, I think that would be great to
Yeah.
see how we can get involved, whether financially or, if you want to send me over some grants, I can try my best and to provide a draft outline for you, and then have you guys review it and add what you would like to see in that, and then I could submit that on behalf of the township. So there's a bunch of different things that we could do. So yeah.
Well, it is a unique opportunity. Grosse Ile, I believe, is, aside from Detroit, I think we consider Detroit's founding in 1701, where we'd be the second oldest community in southeast Michigan. And in the entire state, I know there's some communities in the Upper Peninsula, Sault Ste. Marie, and some of the other communities up there, Mackinac, of course, that trace their community beginning back to the early 1700s or late 1600s. But in downriver, we are the oldest community, and that does make us unique, and that's historically been part of our a point of pride in the community. So I think it could lend itself to promoting Macomb Street and promoting the businesses on Macomb Street, and so anyways, okay, thank you.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You.
Any other public comment?
Greg.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the June 26, 2025 meeting.
Make a motion to approve?
Motion by Ms. Armiak,
Support.
supported by Ms. Karn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is a financial update, approval of the June 2025 financial update. Ross, anything unusual you'd like to point out on the financial report?
Just the expenditure to Wyandotte Art and Glass to do the second phase of the community sculpture. So that's that big figure that you see there. Other than that, nope.
Anyone have any comments or questions on the financial report?
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Randley, supported by Mr. Jacobson to approve the June 2020 financial report. Are there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our first action item, which is a motion to approve OHM Advisors as consultant for the DDA TIF and development plan for total not to exceed $37,730. If you remember, an RFP was let, and we got, was it 5 proposals?
Yeah.
And we narrowed it down to 2, and Ross and I went through an interview process where we brought both of the companies in, interviewed them for 45 minutes to an hour, and from my standpoint, it was a coin toss as to who we hired. I mean, they were both good. They both knew what they were doing. They both had a lot of experience, and I guess OHM may be graded out just a little bit higher than Waitrim, but we couldn't go wrong with either firm, but we decided to recommend OHM.
So you're looking for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Anderson, supported by Ms. Stanko, to approve OHM Advisors for an amount not to exceed $37,730. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I did want to. So I was hoping to have a professional services agreement with them so that we could pass that off to the board. So that will be coming next month. So this is just approving OHM, but then we'll get the agreement, like the contract, that'll be signed.
Okay.
And then
And that gets reviewed by legal counsel?
Yes, yep, of course.
Okay, action item number 2, which was an item that we added tonight, is the approval of Matscott Landscaping for the installation of 7 green giant arbs, 6 to 7 feet, for an amount not to or for the amount of $3,850. This is for Lyons Park.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ranley, supported by Ms. Armiak. Is there any discussion? I think just for information, these are going to be planted on the west side of the property line, from, I don't know, maybe 20 feet off of Macomb Street, heading north in the direction of the high school. It'll be somewhat of a screening of Lyons Park from the property on the west side of the property. And these are the same type trees that we planted last year on the northern part of the property at the, sort of as a border between the house that's on the north side of Lyons Park. So we're sort of creating a screening of our park, so it's not interfering with, either the, property owners to the north or to the west.
And we will have the Christmas tree, so that's a 24-foot tree there too, so.
But we are not approving that tonight.
Not the Christmas tree?
Correct.
Oh.
Unless, the idea was we were gonna go look at it to make sure
Oh,
this is what
gotcha.
we wanted. Remember, Ross?
Yes, okay.
The second item that you can see on the SCUT proposal is a 20-foot tree that, 24-inch Norway spruce that would be installed there. That would become the Christmas tree that we would decorate every year. The township would decorate every year at Christmas time.
Okay.
So, as you know, we've looked at artificial trees, and they cost way more than this. So
Right.
at least we get a permanent live tree, but we won't, that's not on the agenda for
Okay,
approval tonight.
gotcha,
So,
okay. My apologies.
is there anything else? Now, we have a motion by Mr. Ranley, supported by Ms. Armiak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. The next action item is the approval of TNT tree service for the removal of 2 trees that basically are in the neighborhood of where these are, close to Macomb Street on the west side of Lyons Park, for an amount of $1,700. And we've had TNT look at those 2 trees, and if you've looked at them over the last year or two, they're dying, and they've indicated that they've past their useful life and they can't be saved. So,
Right.
unfortunately, we're cutting down 2 trees, but we're replanting 7 others. So, with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Mr. Ranley,
Second.
supported by Mr. Jacobson, to approve TNT in the amount of $1,700. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Our next item are our discussion items, and item number 1 is maintenance of Macomb Street. Ross?
Well, I think we had some email conversations, about the state of Macomb Street, primarily the flowers, but is what triggered this discussion. For those who are watching and have not heard, the flowers are in bad shape right now. We took this over from the Groseal Gardener Club, and I followed that same process they did, where they hired out somebody for $16 an hour, not knowing fully how to operate the system, and not fully training the individual that we hired. Ultimately led to the machine breaking several times, purchasing a new one, that one breaking several times, then ultimately we didn't have a worker anymore. So there was about a week there where we didn't have a worker. And I had made quite a few calls, and we just couldn't get anyone in to get the work done. But now we do have a worker out there. We have our landscape, Carl Moore out there watering every day. Pretty soon we'll be fertilizing. So I think that this kind of triggered a discussion of short-term maintenance on Macomb Street and long-term maintenance. And Brad, I don't know if you have anything to speak to this. Just talking about how we're investing in Macomb Street, how we're maintaining the things that we have, and
we put a lot of work in to try to draw people into Macomb, and then I think just for a variety of reasons, it kind of a lot of different things hit at once. The commons area, the parking lots being addressed, the flowers, and I think just from a board standpoint of just making sure that's a priority of us to, that we're putting the resources or whatever it is, and not whether it's outsourcing, but just not putting it on. We're properly supporting the upkeep of Macomb. So when we want to have like Island Nights or Ladies Night Out, it's in the shape that we expect it to be. And I've been up at the farmers market. I've sold at the farmers market, and it's been contentious there in the condition of that early on. It's been since cleaned up, but it's I want to tell people I'm part of the DDA with pride and not have to defend something that's really indefensible. And so I think just the pride in what we're doing and why we're doing this, right? We all own property, myself a home, you guys mostly businesses, right? Like so we have pride in what Macomb is and how we use it. And I just think I know we take that into consideration, but some of the stuff we say yes, and then it just gets done and kind of put it off onto Ross and the township. But I think just really questioning of the upkeep and doing things the right way and the full way, not necessarily the lowest cost way. And sometimes we get caught by just looking for the lowest cost solution instead of the right solution. So
Yeah, and sorry, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, like with Macomb Commons, right? Like, we're constantly reacting to when things go wrong, and then we're catching up, and it takes us a week or two to catch up to fix the issue instead of being proactive about these things. So I think that finding out ways to be proactive, right? Whether that's I should be out there checking much more often than I am. I'm out there once a week, just driving up and down the street or like picking up litter at the Commons. And then sometimes I don't notice things, or I drive by. So that's, being on top of it and really keeping an eye out on things. And when we go, when we started the flower program, we should have really considered like, hey, do we want a professional doing this? Do we want to pay extra money to have that professional do it correctly, fertilize it when it's supposed to be? Because I don't know anything about plants, right? I mean, obviously, but no. So really. Thinking about those things when we start those programs up top, and nothing against what we have going on now, but maybe we want to go the extra mile and say, hey, for landscaping, we do want to make sure that we're trimming on the sidewalks and keeping that that easement clear for people walking down the sidewalks. We want to do edging along the Lyons Park, that sort of thing, and include that in our RFPs when we do landscape RFPs. So that's just
Plus things like trimming the trees hanging on the side, wouldn't that be the homeowner or the business owner's responsibility to keep the sidewalk clear in front of their business? Or
so the unique thing, and trust me, and I've been dealing with this all summer long, it's actually if trees or anything encroach onto your property, you have every right as a property owner to clear and maintain that. So technically speaking, that is it's a Wayne County easement. We all know Wayne County's not going to come out here and maintain Macomb Street. So anything between the sidewalks and in, that's all us. We could ask the homeowners to trim that, but they don't have to. As soon as it encroaches onto your property or the township or Wayne County's property, that's for us to maintain. And currently, we don't have designated funds to maintain those easements. DPS does the best that they can with the numbers that they got, right? I mean, on a day-to-day basis, it's 4 guys out there, fixing a water main break, digging trenches to help drainage easement. They're crazy busy. So if that's something that the DDA wants to do, we want to maintain our easements and clean out the weeds and driveways going into businesses, that sort of thing. That's sort of up to us. Although, can we try to educate property owners along Macomb Street to say, hey, this is how, this is what a good driveway looks like. This is what a bad driveway looks like without the weeds. If you care, if you want to invest in this street, this is how you can do it. So we could do educational campaigns. I've seen some communities do that. Or we go out there and we do it ourselves. That's sort of sort of it.
Am I allowed to say anything?
Go ahead.
Well, I also feel like we've kind of learned that maybe we lack some resources, and we have some passionate neighbors, and so we lack volunteer efforts also. So if that's something, I mean, it was discussed. The word volunteer came up many times. Because we don't have the same resources that other municipalities have. We're different size. We're limited. So I think maybe we do need to call on our community a little bit more. And it sounds like there are people out there that have a lot of experience with some of the things that have prompted some big discussions. So.
Yeah, and I think that was one thing that's kind of why I invited Leigh here, right? Is like,
perfect timing.
yeah, it really is, right? I reached out to her once I found out that we could be engaged in some way. I'm like, come out immediately, please, because, I mean, I think that when we assess what like the physical state of the DDA, like we got some traction going, right? We got some new businesses, we got, some great things going, but at the same time, we could always do more. And I think this is the next step is, hey, okay, if the community wants to become involved, let's find out strategies to get the community involved and have an organized approach to it, right?
Ross, do we have the right to trim anything in the Wayne County easement?
Yeah.
We do.
I mean, the amount of times that I've reached out to Wayne County to, for stuff on the north end of the island, and, you ask them to come out, you're better just to do it yourself. I mean, we're not going to get penalized if we cut some branches or, cut some grass in the easement.
So for instance, let's just say next year, if we wanted to hire a tree trimmer to go all the way down Macomb from one end to the other and trim anything that's in the county easement, we have the right to do that. Or we can do that.
We can do it.
Okay.
I don't know if we have the right, but we can do it. yeah, right.
No, you do.
Yeah, we can 100% do that.
Okay. Well, over the last month, Ross and I have had a couple discussions about, our maintenance of our, our properties. And right now, our properties are under the same contractor bundled with everything, all the other properties from the township. And maybe it's time that we look on our own to have our own contractor that deals with just DDA properties instead of bundling it all with the townships. So maybe we can have a little bit better control. That's, one option. The other thing is, I do think that as a DDA board, we all travel Macomb many times a week, and it's not only Ross's responsibility, but it's all of our board. This whole board needs to keep an eye on Macomb. And if things that we manage don't look right, we need to notify Ross and tell him that. Don't wait for someone else. It's not someone else's job to tell Ross that it doesn't look, or for Ross to find out. If you see something that doesn't look right, let Ross know right away so we can get it corrected, because we shouldn't be installing anything on that street that we are not going to maintain. And we want all the other property owners to maintain their property correctly. But if we can't maintain our own, how are we going to make them or ask them to maintain theirs? So we have to take care of our own property, our own house first before we, put pressure on anybody else to kind of clean up theirs and trim their trees and things like that. So we've got to set the example and make sure that our properties are maintained well. And, we shouldn't jump into projects if we don't have a maintenance plan that we're going to maintain it the way it should be maintained. So keep that in mind. Next time we're going to spend money on something, make sure that we have a plan in place to maintain it. So it's kept up the way it should be kept up.
So to be clear, to address what kind of is going on, who do we have in charge now of trying to resuscitate the plants?
So we have Carl Moore, that's the township's landscaper. He's been out there, I think, 5 times since Saturday. He says that he can bring them back. He's like, I can bring these back. He said, but there's going to be a few that obviously won't. I think on the west end of Macomb, those are kind of fried. So,
are we going to replace those?
What's up?
Are we going to be able to replace those or put something similar in that place for the season?
I can look into that. I think the total cost for all the plants on Macomb was $31,000. $3,100. So I could reach out to our lands, J&S Gardens, to see if they have anything available. But typically they plant for whatever they have in demand. So, and I think that's typically how I think we might be a little too late. But if we want to have those removed in time, because we do have Island Nights tomorrow, if we want to make the call to remove some, we can.
We know how many are not gonna resuscitate?
We don't. Carl said, I mean, some of them are starting to grow on top, and it's a matter of cutting them, is what he was saying. He said, you just got to cut them back and just keep watering them. They'll come back. They're not totally dead. And he's going to fertilize them too. So, if we're going to try to hurry up to get this ready for tomorrow, there's no easy
I
solution.
wouldn't worry about that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what he's basically saying is, give it another week of constantly watering and fertilizing to see what happens, and then make that decision. So I can keep the board in the loop.
Any other comments on Macomb Street maintenance? Hearing none, our next item is the Macomb Street Social District.
So on the bright side, we will have a social district tomorrow.
Oh, it's already.
Yeah,
really
so
good.
spoke with John with DPS. He said I'll be out there 6 o'clock, early tomorrow morning to install the signs. I handed out all the cups to Lloyd's, Perdino's, Sully's, and the Literary Hideaway. So we're good to go. At least, the flowers might look bad, but at least you can have a beer and
Walk
laugh
around.
about it. Yeah, right, yeah. So pretty excited about that. So
Are we gonna get that
Bad
message
press
out
is
to
still
people?
press.
yeah, so I just found that out like 3 o'clock today, because John was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to. But he said, you know what? He's like, all right, I'll get it done tomorrow. He's like, barring no issues, we'll get it done tomorrow. So
So how are we gonna let everyone know that it's official tomorrow?
I will be making a Facebook post, sharing out to everyone. Grozeal now. I'm going to potentially send out a push notification to residents saying, here, social districts live. Here's the website that gives you all the rules about it. I think I've talked to Doug at the police department. He said that they'll send out some stuff about the rules of engagement. So all the businesses will have all the rules about it. All the businesses that are participating know all the rules about it. So we're set up there. So it's kind of going to be like a surprise kind of thing for, so yeah.
Well, great job getting that done.
Yeah, no, it was like very last minute that we were able to get this done, but,
Great.
yeah, so, yep.
I'll be there to watch the show live.
Stay tuned.
Watch the show live.
The next item is the Lyons Park furnishings.
Yep, so got those ordered. Supposedly will be here in 10 weeks, or 8 to 10 weeks. Spoke with with the township engineers. They will coordinate the pads, the concrete pads for the seats that we need. So hopefully in 8 to 10 weeks we'll have new benches and trash receptacles installed at Lyons Park.
So really, within the next 2 months, we're going to have new furnishings, new plantings, and a new art piece at
Yeah.
Lyons Park. So, starting to take shape.
Starting to take shape.
Our next item is DDA Director's Report. Think you talked enough.
Yeah, I think we talked enough, and thanks everyone for another. The last 2 sessions meetings were great. So.
Next item is Chairman's Report. I have nothing new to report tonight, so we will move on to. How come we have public comment twice?
That was the board's
Public
decision.
comment was always at the end.
They have 2 public comment
That's the
periods,
board's decision at the board meeting.
but now
You
it's.
can do whatever you want, Ron.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's
Well,
whatever you like.
I don't see any reason why we have 2 public comments, so
We
let's
do-
take off this one at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, Ron, that was for us. Just because of agenda items, and then you may have to say something on how we voted, on what we did at the end of the meeting, too. And if you want to bring something to the meeting, I didn't want people to wait, maybe a 2-hour meeting,
Yeah,
2.5-hour meeting, just to come up for a 5-minute talk. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's why we did it. You can run your You're the chairman. You run it how you like.
Okay.
Well,
We have-
looks like we're
Would you
Yeah,
like
we
public
have-
comment?
We do have public
Comment.
comment.
Here we go.
This is the last time we're going to have it at the end of the meeting, so.
Kevin Flavin, Park Lane. The reason to have a comment at the end is to say thank you to everybody on the board who has spent, I don't know how long we've been here, but thank you for everything you have done and considered for this evening. And it is nice to have a comment at the beginning and at the end for taxpayers. And thank you all for everything you've been doing with the DDA. So, and I know everybody else is doing other things too, so thank you.
Thank you.
Comments. Usually we got people telling us the opposite, so.
No, thank you. Good suggestion.
Hi, Margaret Shelton, Bellevue Road. So I have a few things that I just wanted to talk about. I want to thank Ross for doing a lot of due diligence on, a lot of the work that does need to get done on Macomb. And, the fact that a lot of things aren't in the budget to cover them, a lot of the landscaping, I know there's a lot of hardscape that still needs to be done. As a resident, I'd really like to strongly request that we kind of ease off of the sculpture situation right now, just based on cost and how many other things have got to get done. You have so much work that you're putting into that Macomb Street, and it's starting to come together, but I'm not adverse to art at all. I think the DIA art that's been brought in has really actually brought people into where you want them to go, because people are engaged with it, they're interested in checking it out. I think we really have a lot more to do, and I look at it like you're putting up paintings on a wall before you're painting your house. That's my point of view on it. And it's not just my point of view. So from a board member perspective, I've had a lot of people be very concerned about cost. So I would just, if there's so much more to do, and I think making sure your flowers are alive and well, and I know you want to hope they come back, Ross, but as a gardener, I don't think they're going to come back to what they really should be, which is at the Trenton and Wyandotte and Monroe, et cetera, level. And that's not your fault. I think that should have been addressed a lot quicker, because it doesn't take the kind of days that we had that were so hot, maybe 3 days, and when you don't water petunias, you're kind of done for. And you can Google it. When they get to that stage, it's almost next to impossible to get them back to where they need to be. So I don't disagree with Carl. I think he's doing a tremendous job. I can see the green. I see what he's talking about. All I'm saying is you're not going to get it there. You've got a lot of dead stuff going on. But I think you guys do a great job, and I would like to see, let's get the hardscape, let's get the landscape, and let's focus on those things. And if upkeep is needed, and we need to pay people to do the trimming, to do the sidewalks, to make sure we look clean, all I'm asking is that we really consider the priorities versus the wants. So need versus want. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any open business from the board? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Armiak, supported by Mr. Jacobson to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.